Hello everybody! And recently I've been having a little bit of a tinker with Oddworld Stranger's Wrath, the HD remake. Not the Xbox, there's no box for the HD remake. It's a download. Lay off me. So can I please get an intro now? So, Oddworld Stranger's Wrath HD. Now, if you guys regularly watch my stuff, you would know that I am a muchos Oddworld fan. I love everything about them. The imagination, the humour, the innovation, the gameplay, the art style. Everything for me is gaming bliss. There are no other games in the whole universe that are like them. Everything from Abe's Odyssey to Stranger's Wrath. And it's HD re-releases like this that exist to give newcomers the perfect and best possible updated experience to introduce them to not just this franchise, but any franchise. Anyway, for those who don't know what Stranger's Wrath is, I'm going to give you a quick review / little rundown of it. In this game, you play this really weird creature called Stranger. He is this really low-pitched voiced and very badass bounty hunter in the realms of Oddworld, and he's going around catching bounties in order to pay for a very mysterious operation, to which he describes is a matter of life and death. After that, plot twists, strangeness, and darkness ensues. The game is played by crossing third-person exploration and platforming with first-person shooting and battles, and to kind of compare what it feels like, it sort of feels like the more recent Fallout games, but with better implementation of the third-person mode. If you know one or two things about Oddworld, you will realise that this is a huge departure from the other games, and, well, except for the game speak to talk to the locals, that's still there, but do you know what? It really works. Essentially, you explore different towns, canyons, sewers, mountainsides and valleys and all over the place, better in third person, where the controls are really slick and Stranger really likes to bounce and very naturally and zippy through all the trees and the rocks. He can also break through wooden crates and barriers by spin punching, headbutting, or even just sprinting head on straight through them, which is loads of fun. The first person mode comes into play with the huge amount of bounties that the game is centered around, and is also the most effective way to rid yourself of all the enemies and bodyguards. Now this is where things get really interesting, because in the first person mode you only have one weapon, and that is your arm crossbow. But just because you have the one weapon, that means you have lots and lots of different ammo types. And this ammo, believe it or not, is actually loads of live, small animals, which, along with being ingeniously funny, offers loads of different functionalities and loads of different types of ammo to play with, and they're all incredibly useful. Everything from sharp-toothed fuzzle traps for your enemies to shotgun-like slugs. They all come into play, very useful, and every ammo type is used in the game at least once. There's not a single ammo type that you can just put aside. They're all incredibly useful. They also help out in the bounty mechanic of the game, because you can decide whether or not you kill or temporarily knock out all of your enemies, because if you capture your enemies while they're alive, that gives you a lot more moolah, which is the game's currency, but you open yourself up to much more enemy fire, and it takes much longer to do, compared to if you just capture them dead or not capture them at all. You practically get no moolah at all, but it's much quicker and much safer to do. Another thing that I love is the way that you get to choose which head bounties to bag, and this is where the game actually kind of introduces its stages. This is how you pick your stages. This then more or less turns the entire game into a huge series of boss battles, all that put up a different, challenging, and sometimes really tricky fight, especially when you're trying to capture them all alive and get more moolah for them. And all of the layouts, areas, and enemy types up to and around their hideouts are all very varied and very challenging in places. Also, the dialogue is tight and really funny, the visuals are great, and the music is blockbuster worthy. The only majorly iffy things I have about this game are as follows. Firstly, the moolah system. It's a nice enough mechanic, and it provides a lot more optional challenge for loads of seasoned gamers out there to capture all of their bounties alive and get a lot more moolah for them. But then at the same time, when you go to the store and try to spend that moolah, only occasionally there's a few majorly important things that you can upgrade yourself with in the game. There's about, 10 things, maybe 20 things that are really important, and they're not that expensive. I mean, when I beat the game, I had tons of cash left over, for I tried to beat all of the bounties and capture them all alive to get more moolah for them, but I was left over after buying all the important upgrades with so much cash left over, and I actually beat the game without buying a single drop of ammo, because you can hunt your own ammo in all the areas that you explore in little huts and all the little creatures that live in little houses and things. It's really cute. But yeah, you hunt all of your ammo, so you don't need to buy any of it, so it's kind of a shame, really. Also, apart from the occasional ammo and occasional moolah hidden in crates and boxes, there's no real incentive to explore any of these areas. There's no hidden pickups or specialities anywhere that you can kind of go around, which is, it's kind of a shame, I suppose, because these areas are immensely gorgeous and really, really fun to run around. And I really do think that would have been a nice little addition. And also, in some parts of the game, there are huge difficulty spikes, which sometimes is a bad thing, but not all the time, because it never gets to the point of frustrating, but it presents a lot more, well, in the higher difficulties, that's when it becomes frustrating, but in the normal mode anyway, it's never frustrating. It just presents a load of needless challenge in some of the parts of the story. But that's all I've got against it anyway, so what do I like about the HD remake? First, it's in 720p and it runs at 60 frames per second. And it really does benefit the game a huge amount because it feels like the original brilliance of the game is shining through, and it feels like that this was how the game was originally meant to be made and played. It's also available on the PS Vita, which means a portable HD Oddworld game. Oh my god, I loved that addition. I also absolutely loved the visuals, which was actually probably the first thing that I actually noticed. The landscapes are breathtaking, and everything from all the lakes that you explore to the industrial areas and even the snowy areas later on in the game, they are incredibly remastered. And it gives an excellent interpretation to how expansive, strange, and beautiful the Oddworld actually is. The sensitivity of first-person aiming and camera control has also been refined, and you know what? Everything is just rosy. However, there were one or two things that I wasn't a big fan of. Firstly, in the whole game, this is a big nitpick, but in the whole game I think I experienced probably one or two technical bugs, one of which was during the music and the dialogue, and the other which was impacted on Stranger himself and the enemy AI. And also, as to be expected, the PS Vita version has occasional moments, probably one or two moments, of quite bad frame rate issues, but that only happens when there's a lot of shit going on screen, which isn't too much. Also, on the Vita, as good as the visuals have been tweaked and how beautiful it looks on that system, the cutscene resolutions haven't been fixed and they look very much like they did on the old Xbox, which is a shame, I guess, but there aren't too many cutscenes in the game, so it's not too much of a problem. But none of these things, even on the Vita, kill the flow, the gameplay, or the immersion. It's really just they're huge, huge nitpicks. They are so nitpicky, I don't even know why I brought them up, but they're huge nitpicks in an otherwise perfect port for all the available systems. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, I think it's something to do with a dispute between Microsoft and Oddworld, I don't know, the port isn't available on the Xbox 360, which is a bit of a bummer, but regardless of that, it's available on the PS3, PS Vita, soon on the Wii U, which is pretty cool, and where else? Oh yeah, obviously on the PC. And for intense Steam users, you can get this HD remake and, in a bundle, the other three preceding brilliant Oddworld games, all in the Odd Box deal. Search it up, you won't regret it. Not to mention, in the Steam sales, I only got it for £6.49, the whole Odd Box deal. What? That's insane, nobody can deny that. And even when it's not in the sales, the full price of the Odd Box is about £12.99, which is like around and about the cost of the HD Stranger's Wrath console port alone. So that goes to show you, that's insane. And the other games at normal price without the Steam sale reduction are all kind of between £3 and £8, so that's still pretty fucking good. And obviously the PC version is the best version and it's the cheapest one by far, so if you're gonna get any one of them, get that one. And so, after tinkering around with the Oddworld Stranger's Wrath HD remake, I would definitely say that the game itself was commendable, but the port and the HD remake is definitely unbelievable. Anyway, not only do I have a soft spot for Western movie styles, but if any game from our last generation deserved a HD remake, it was definitely this. And the developers at Just Add Water really fucking gave it their all. And I hope that the same and even more can be expected and delivered from them in the upcoming HD remake of Abe's Odyssey, New and Tasty, because good God, if this is what they're capable of, then I am fucking excited. Farewell everybody, and until next time, take care.